Hey everyone, it's Jason, and welcome to Keep the Heroes Out, a dungeon defense game. It's a cooperative dungeon defense game, trying to summon your monsters and place traps, buy resources, and get upgraded cards to defeat the heroes before survive 2 waves of heroes coming through the dungeon. In our first video, this is part 2. So in our first video, if you didn't check it out, I did go through kind of all the rules. We did take a quick look at the end with a spoiler, looking at some of the scenarios to see kind of how they're played. Really fun ideas of scenario-based modes in here, so you kind of have a story it goes through. It says how to do stuff. After you play through them, you can kind of mix and match stuff, maybe do your own stuff if you like, make things more creative. So in part 2 here, we're going to go over all the different clans, or all the different monsters, their decks, their clan cards, their tactics. We're going to go over the room cards. We're actually going to go over the rooms first, and then we're going to go over all the monsters. Then we're going to look at the item cards, and then finally at the end, we're going to look at the scenario cards, which again, I will have a spoiler announcement before them, in case you don't want to see what's coming up in each individual scenario until you get ready to play it. Because some people might want to kind of go into them blind. Cool. So we are going to go ahead and hop into this. Let me move my game box over the way. We have our big old tiles here. Let's see if I can get this to sit up on there nicely. So in the bottom corner, we'll have 1 through 12 on there, just to keep track of which ones are which. That way, if they add some for the expansions, they either can add them on past 12, or they can add an expansion symbol. I don't remember which way they did it. So a couple relevant things to look at in each dungeon is going to be, first of all, we have different exits. So some have exits on each side, some might only have 1, some might have 2, different things. Then the other thing is going to be, we're going to have a special symbol up at the top. That is going to show what classification. There's going to be cards that reference various things. So for example, we're actually starting out a bad one here. I'm going to skip the first 3 because they're all special. We're actually going to skip those. Let's start with the first one here. We have, try to start with number 12. We have the Vault. It has the diamond gem on here. This is usually where your number 4 treasure goes. This is where all the heroes are trying to get. And we'll have some cards, like for example the dragon, which will show that he summons to the vault. Versus, if we look at our Wizard King, it's going to show he summons to the Mystic Eyes, which are one of the locations there. And then the heroes and scenario cards may also reference those symbols as well. Again, like I said in the first video, this has a lot of icons that help represent everything on the cards versus having text. There are generally no text on cards outside of numbers. It's all, this symbol does this does this, and then you just kind of got, like, you'll have to learn what each different symbol does. So here's our vault, has the 4 doors. The other things we're going to get in here is the finger, which is the activate icon. So on your hero, on your tactic cards, they might have various symbols that let you activate stuff. So I'm going to show it all. Like this would give him a move and an activate ability. So if he does this, he can activate if he's in that room. And some have, the monsters have different various effects and how they can do that. And this generates a coin token. So this means then you would go through, find your coin token on our token board, and you put one of those in the dungeon. So from there, now monsters can bring them with them when they move around to get to other areas to spend them. There's only 1 current diamond in the game. Everything else has generally 2 different spots. They usually have a common one and a higher level one. So here we're going to look at our hats, which is the library and apocryphy. So this is the library. This is number 11. Look, we only have 2 doors on this one. I do like the artwork on here too. These are very cool artwork. They look pretty besides that. You can even put like one of the skeletons in there. He's kind of hanging out, pondering stuff. But this says activate to produce a book token. So we're going to have one of each different of the class types that do that. So like, for example, we have tile number 8, which is our... I knocked these over. I need a bigger easel, I guess, for these. So this is our swords icon. Again, hack swords, but make them very simple to figure out. This is the forge. No, sorry, this is the workshop. This is the workshop where you can activate to create traps. Again, traps are used to deal damage to monsters, so you can create them here, and then you can bring them to other rooms to start trying to like stop the heroes when they walk through them or they summon. They'll take damage. We have our crossbones, which are the red ones. A bunch of little frogs there. This is the sewers. There's any frogs playing around in the sewers. This is a neat one because it's only exit on the top and the bottom. And this helps you produce frogs, which then you activate to produce frog tokens to use on stuff. And then the last of the 4 types is we have the Mystic Eye, and this is the Graveyard, which lets you get bones. So yeah, one for each different element, so you're going to play them around. And not every scenario will necessarily use every single map tile. So you might end up one that doesn't produce bones, or doesn't produce frogs, or doesn't have traps for some reason. I can't say for sure that they're going to be there, but it might not always be that way. So it's not 100%. Then we have 4 special rooms for each one. So if we go back, stick with the Magic Eye here, we have the study. So the study has, so all of these ones each have a special thing. It's basically you activate, you spend one of those tokens you created to now get an item card. So this will trade in a book, which was not created in the Magic Eye one. It was created in the hats. So they're not creating one from each other. But yeah, you're going to like produce a scroll. And then your scrolls and your items, each one of their boosts, are to your various items. You have some potions, which will give us some different effects. We have some scrolls, which will give us some stuff. We have some beasts. And we have some equipment. Just add new cards to your tactic deck. So that way, although each clan or each monster has its own separate deck, these can give you extra bonuses that let them maybe perform stuff they couldn't normally do. So they can be very helpful as well. Like Jimmy Scrolls might give you extra attack icons or something like that. We have, in the crossbones, we have the Beast Trainer cage. You have an octopus and a gel. There's a little monkey, there's a parrot. So this you trade in bones to get a beast. I'm going to drop these down and start getting too big on there. In the swords, we have the workshop. Lets you trade your coins for equipment. There's some bucklers, some boots, some daggers, some blunderbuss, some bombs, axes. A helmet that has eyes for some reason. Not really sure on that. And then we have, in the 4th one for that, is we have the hats, which is the apocryphy, which is Cauldron, making potions and stuff. So you're trading your frogs to make potions. So you have one of each of the 4 types of rooms that will produce a resource, and then one of the other 4 types of rooms you can spend that resource to create an item card. Or let you purchase one from the thing. Now, a thing to keep in mind, though, is that there's only 4 item cards ever revealed at a time. So if the potion is not revealed, you can't come here and turn in a frog to draw a potion. Someone might have to spend it in their turn, spend one of their tactics cards to refresh it to hope to redraw one. Or someone could buy a different one and maybe will get drawn. So you might not always be able to access them. It just might depend. Or you might not want to buy one that's available, and you might have to refresh to try and see that. Then there are 3 specialty shops. Each one we looked at right away. We had up there. And they'll have this little lightning bolt in there. So these are a little bit special because they do extra stuff in there to let you do things. So this is, I'm going to go right to the page for this so I make sure I read this right. This is the room builder, or the builder room. Whoops. I banged my camera in my big clumsy hands. Alright. So this has a special one. It says, additional setup. If the builder is present in a scenario, this might, again, not be always. Shuffle the unused dungeon tile rooms. Place them face down next to the dungeon, creating the builder pile. Reveal the top 3 of them. These are the available blueprints. When you activate the builder, discard a number of coins from the builder room equal to the value of treasure you want to place in the new room you will build. You need to either build at least... You need to spend at least 1 coin up to a maximum of 3 to take the treasure or the maximum value from the supply. If there's no such token, you cannot build a new room. Take the token from the available blueprints, place it adjacent room already in your dungeon. Make sure a pathway through the passage to your room to the vault. Place the treasure token on it, then reveal the top card from the builder. So what's neat here is that the other ones you're trading one resource for a thing. Here you're actually spending any amount of coins, but you have to produce coins in a different room, then bring them back over to this room, and then spend that many. So if you spent 1 coin, you could create a new room that has 1 treasure. What's the idea of that? So if you would say you create one that has the hats icon, and it's farthest away from the vault, which is where the 4 treasure is, now any hero that comes in that goes to the hats is going to get summoned way over there instead. And that's the thing. You're building other rooms to kind of like make barricades or make it harder for them to get over. So yeah, so let's start. You have like 3 options. It says when you activate the builder room, they can choose to discard either 1 or 2 coins. They choose to discard 2 coins and place the treasure 2 they have have a stronger defense. So here it is. You're showing, like, for example, there's the vault right there, and they're gonna place 1 right here. So now there's a 3 treasure, or so they're in this room right there. So they're spending 2 coins to place a treasure. So they pick 1 of these, and they pick this one. So they're gonna put it right there. It's gonna place a 2 treasure in that room. So now anytime someone comes with the sword icon, they're gonna drop in here, and then now they have to go from here into here, then into there. So it gives them 1 extra. And plus, they're gonna also stop to get this treasure first. So it's going to stop, get there, and then they're going to do that. So it just, yeah, adds a little extra fun element to that. The next one we have up is for a special room. Is activate. It has a picture of a cell and a hand. This is the laboratory, or as Dexter would say, a laboratory. If the laboratory is present in a scenario, choose a clan that is not being used by a player and shuffle all their 10 starting tactic cards on the loot deck. Now, you can play up to 6 players in the game, which would leave 3 extra clans available just in the base game. When you activate the laboratory, draw a card from the guild deck. If the card is a hero, send that hero to the cells to acquire the tactics. So anytime you see the cell, always going to draw a card and send them over to that. Send them to cells. Acquire the tactics card from the available loot and put it in your discard pile. Please note that playing a tactic card from your hand does not require you to have the monster from that clan in your possession. Just resolve the actions. So what's neat here is that what it does is it allows you to take one of your other cards and you mix it into the loot deck. So now the loot deck, instead of just having your scrolls, beasts, equipment, or potions, you can also have a monster in there. So it's kind of like, oh, I could have an additional chance to maybe summon the dragon, or maybe I could summon some extra rats. And it lets you put them in there as a way to try and acquire them. But it's a little bit harder to do it because it just depends on whether or not you end up drawing a hero off the top of that deck or not, which you might not. So they're showing there. So now you added that in there. Oh, look, now the dragon's in. Again, like with that stuff, purchasing a potion or a scroll, if it's not in the loot pile, you can't access it. So even though the dragon's in the deck, it might not be available. But it could give you some extra, again, some extra things your character or monster could not normally do. Then the last one is we actually have is the cells. So the cells have a picture of a cell on here. And it has a little timer on it. It says once. It's once per turn. So once per turn, at any point in your turn, you may push your luck by throwing heroes in a cell. To perform this action, you do not need to have one of your monsters in a cell, nor do you need to resolve an active action. So you can just do this once per turn no matter what. draw the top card from the guild deck. If you draw a scenario card, nothing happened. If you draw a hero, take your token from the supply, place it in the cells, and exhaust it side up. Then draw 3 cards from your tactics deck and place them in your hand. So this is kind of a gamble. One hand because you might have had nothing happen. Nothing happens. Whatever. But the thing is, every time you pull a card out of there, you're lowering your guild deck down farther, and once the deck runs out, you lose the game. It runs out actually second time. So yeah, you don't want to do it super, super often because you're just basically, you'd have to hope to get a hero, and then them 3 cards are going to give you enough advantage to make up for the fact is you removed a card from the deck. Also, putting heroes in there summons them quicker than if they would have just been drawn. Although they do come in, they do their special ability, and then they come in exhausted after that. So they do still perform the thing. So here's the biggest risk of all. So if a mage is sent into the cells, exhausted heroes break out of cells and become active. In this case, resolve them immediately. So if you get multiple characters in a cell due to this or other effects, and then the mage gets in there, all of a sudden he wakes everybody up and everybody's trying to run out. So that could definitely be pretty devastating. So they do kind of show in this scenario, there was 2 warriors and a rogue in there. The mage got summoned when you drew this card. So you still get to draw your 3 cards, but it's not going to make any difference because they're going to summon. One of them is going to open up the chest. Then the other ones are all going to move into here. And because you already had a guy in here, they're going to activate that person. And then they're going to purchase this chest and win the game. So in that scenario, you would have lost the game because drawing the 3 cards was not worth the risk. So there are different rooms. As expansions come out, they might very well add more and more different rooms. It could be kind of neat. I know the boss battles adds 1 room, but it's kind of works with some of the scenarios in that mode. But they might add some other different options in here, which would be kind of cool as well. Alright, let's look at our monsters. So we are going to start with, on the back side of each monster's clan card, has a just brief re-description of the rules. Play all your cards, refresh your loot pile, draw back up to 5 cards, play a guild card, end your turn. On the cards here, we're going to have a couple of different information. First, we have a cute little picture of all the characters. Down here is going to show at the beginning of the game where and how many you summon. So you're going to, in the hats room, you're going to summon 4 rats. And if there's 2 hat rooms, you can choose to summon all 4 to 1. Summon 2 in one, 2 in the other, 3 in one, 1 in the other, however you choose to do it. The symbol is over here going to show you have 9 meeples, so you know how many you're playing with, how much health each one has. So rat kings can take 1 damage each time. They have 1 health each. And that's going to show how many cards are in your deck and what the deck symbol is. So on the top of their card will be that, just for shuffling out at the end of the game. So far, every character, every monster I've seen has always had 10 cards. But again, that doesn't mean that might not change in the future. So that is a nice way to keep track of that. Then at the top, they're going to have their special activated abilities. So if they get the activate icon on one of their cards, these guys can summon one of their other rats. So they can keep summoning them as long as they can keep drawing these cards. We're going to have their little meeples here. And we're going to get 9 of them. Very disappointed looking mice. I don't know, like this again. More heroes. So yeah, these guys fall in the defender rank. So they have, it's not nice, is in the book they actually have a little spot in here called Monster Clans, which talk about each one, explain how their ability works, just so you know, in case you can't figure out the symbol. But it also gives a pro tip on kind of how to play them, which is really fun. On the back of the book, they also show like all the different symbols mean. So yeah, there's our place a rat king in a room where you already have another rat king. So you don't have to resummon it to the hat room. You can just summon them wherever your guys are. They have a pro tip. Focus on acquiring equipment. Swords and axes do wonders for you. So basically, you can power up these little guys so you can do more damage. Pretty cool. Then we have 2 copies of this. And these cards don't have names, so I can't really name them. But little rats cooking a thing. So here you just summon either 2 reactions to a hat room, or you get to perform a move action. So whenever it has the slash there, you get to pick which one you would like to do. And you can do either one. So if I play both of these cards in the turn, the first time I could do this, the second card I could play the boot. You don't have to play the same one each time. 3 copies of one with a pickaxe. You get 2 activates or an attack. So again, you can just summon a bunch of guys, or you could use it to do 2 room activations, or 1 activation off your clan card to summon a rat, or do 1 activation in a room. So it's anything that shows that finger you can do twice. Again, it can be any combination. Or you can just attack with one of your guys. And then they have 5 copies of this one. I'm charging in. So this has the little multiple meeple, which means swarm. So again, on the back of the book, they're going to have a list of all these different things that call different names. So we have swarm down here. It says all monsters in the same dungeon room perform the depicted action. An example, they may all move. So here you're going to let all your guys move, or 1 guy gets to attack. Now, if all of them got to attack, it would show that swarm on both pictures. So again, you either get 1 attack, or you can let everybody move. So the mice are going to be able to summon a lot of guys and be able to move around. So it's kind of nice because you could do it. You could spread them all out to all these different rooms, so they could act as little defenders in every room. Because heroes are going to have to stop in every room and attack them. And then you can keep summoning more of them. Oh, they took out this one. They have to stop, though, every time and deal with them. Or you can move them in big giant bunches and then they have to sit there and fight 4 at a time. And then, hey, while they're sitting there dealing with it, then, hey, they didn't take them out. You can take them out with your attack on the next turn. Then when there's none, summon more. So yeah, very, very interesting how they work. Alright, we're going to drop these guys off over here. We're going to look at our next group. We have the Lizard Folk. I think I kept saying Lizard King. So these guys, we have 5 of them. They're like dinosaur-looking guys. So they're going to summon 3 to a magic eye room. Again, most of these guys have 1 health. But they have activate, do a ranged attack. So ranged attacks say, deal 1 damage to a hero in adjacent dungeon room, to one of your monsters. Deal 1 damage to a hero in adjacent room to one of your monsters. Must connect through a passageway. If the hero's health reaches 0, discard them. So these guys can kind of sit back and attack. These guys are part of your crowd control. Just pro tip: hit and run is your way to go. Focus on loot that gives you movement and attack. So having these guys kind of get around, they can shoot from a room away, so that way the heroes don't have a chance to hit them. Let's see what their abilities do. We have 3 copies of one of the slingshot. So they have swarm attacks, so everyone in the same room can now attack. They don't have to even attack the same adjacent room. So if they're in the middle and there's 3 adjacent rooms, they can each attack a separate room. Or you can summon 1 to the magic eye. We have 3 copies of defend with an arrow. Oop, I bumped that. So this actually has 2 different things in here. First of all, we have the shield, which is defend. When a hero attacks in the same dungeon room as one of your monsters, as a reaction, use this action to lower the damage by 1. So you can play this card as a reaction. So he's hiding in the bushes there. And then it has surge. So if you succeed in the left action, you may perform the right action for free. In the example above, if you melee attack a hero, you may also summon one of your monsters. So these guys kind of sit around, so they go ranged attack, but if they are going to take damage, you can play this defend, which then lets you move all of them. They are in the same dungeon. So that's kind of cool. It's a way for you to, I can sit there and shoot arrows, but then when heroes get into my room, if they do attack me, I can basically avoid the damage, and I can move all my guys to another room so they can attack again. Very cool there. And then we have 4 copies of this, which gives you move and activate. And you don't have to do these in that exact order. It's just saying these are the 2 options you have. So you can either move all your guys first, or you could move a guy, or you could activate one of your abilities. Very cool. So yeah, you saw these guys play. Again, you saw everyone's going to keep playing very different. Up next, we have the Slime. Divide and Conquer. So the Slime get to summon 5 right into the 4 into the crossbone. We have 8 of them. Little pink slime blobby guys. Look very much like slime from Dungeon Quest. Yeah, that's interesting thing I'm thinking of. Hero Quest? No, not Hero Quest. Dungeon Quest. I might be wrong. But you have a total of 10 of them. So they're going to be able to go out more. So you can activate to draw a tactics card. So we have a draw. Draw 1 card from your tactics deck, put it in your hand. This card's available for you to play for the rest of your turn. So it doesn't matter how many cards you have in your hand. Get you an extra one to activate. So their pro tip is focus on loot cards with activate actions to use your special ability more. So if you can get loot cards, it'll let you activate more often. You can keep activating this, drawing more and more cards, which lets you play more and more stuff, which lets you do more every turn. So alright, they have 4 copies of this fun one, where we have a warrior cutting him in half. So it says defend, surge, play an additional meeple. So basically they're going to get attacked. You can play this to keep them from taking damage, but then summon other guys, just splitting them in half. We have 3 copies of this bouncing one, which lets you move twice or activate. Gets you around the board. And then we have 3 copies of this green one, who has move and attack or summon a meeple to the crossbones. So kind of fun. So these guys don't have a lot of attack. They have some move, they have some defense, but they're going to summon a lot of things. But if you, again, can acquire some loot, you can give them some good attacks. Alright, who do we have up next? We have the Imp, little bat guy. So the Imps here, we get 4 of them. And they're going to be little smiley face bats. I keep calling them bats, but technically they're Imps. So they might actually have bats. They can make bats as well. So you get 4 of these guys, so all 4 of them get summoned. So some of these guys are not summoning your entire group. These ones you're summoning all 4 of them. So just activate, you get a move. Just move to an adjacent room. I don't think I ever showed off that one, but it just says move one of your monsters to an adjacent dungeon or a portal. When you move, you can bring 1 resource or 1 trap token with you. So this is how you move all your stuff around the board. So what do these guys get? They have 3 copies of this one where they're this hand is in a trap. So you can either place a trap or activate. So it just shows the symbol there. Place a trap token in the same dungeon as one of your monsters. And then likewise, we have one of the other symbols. Place a relevant resource in the same room. So this will help him do that. So then he can use his movement abilities to carry them around. Such as this, we have 3 copies of him with a frog. So move and activate twice. You can use his activate ability to move another 2 times if you want. So you can pick up a trap in one thing and potentially move, or you could create 2 resources and then move with one of them, and then create a resource in the next one, or use activate to move twice and bring that to another room. So he's going to definitely get around. Which is why it says pro tip, create as many traps as you can. Focus on acquiring traps, attack, and summon cards. And then he has 4 copies of this one where he has a candle on his head for some reason, which lets you summon him or move and attack. So these guys don't have like this swarming ability. They're going to kind of have each one just go out and do their own thing. Versus some of the other guys we had where they kind of wanted to stick together. Alright, up next we have the Gnolls. And the Gnolls, we actually have quite a few. We get 7 of them. These little cheeky looking guys. They're up to something. So you just summon 2 of them, but we have 7. So like, yeah, we're gonna have to try and summon more as we go along. They have activate to do an attack. Again, we've seen attack over and over. I don't think I actually read what it does. This says deal 1 damage to a hero in the same dungeon as one of your monsters. So, like, range does it to an adjacent, melee does it to the same room. Kind of self-explanatory again. 2 copies of this. Discard a coin to summon 3 more guys. So if he can find coins, you can discard a coin to summon them. Now, it doesn't actually show this one on the back. Just X means to get rid of one. So yeah, if you can produce coins somewhere, he can go ahead and do this. So it does say, move coins along with you to have more options to summon your gnolls. So yeah, if you bring some coins with you, all of a sudden, you have a guy running around with a coin, all of a sudden, boom, you can get rid of it. Now you have 4 guys in a room instead. So you can, like, instantly produce more numbers. We have 3 copies of him with a spear, who says attack, and if you succeed in your attack, generate a coin. So it's kind of neat. Spend a coin, summon 3 guys, and then you can attack with them. As long as you do damage, you can get your coin right back. So it's not even wasting some actions. And then we have 5 copies of him laughing, which says move and activate or summon. Yeah, so pretty cool there. That is a fun different character. You get a lot of them out there. Alright, up next, we have the Poltergeist. And we get 3 of these laughing ghosts. I like that they're poltergeists and not just ghosts, though. So we have summon 2 of them to the sword room. They can activate. They have a special activate ability, which we haven't seen on some of these. So it says, move one of your poltergeists through passageways or walls. So these guys can just walk through anything. They don't have to walk through the hallways. They get to walk right through walls. So it gets them to move around the board a lot easier. So use your special ability to move resources and help the whole team acquire loot. So this will work very well if you're... Let me just grab 2 cards here quick. So for example, if you had these 2 rooms, like, adjacent to each other for whatever reason, you can't get through. This one produces a book, and this one spends a book to make scrolls. Normally, like, even if, let's just say, for example, it was this way. So we have a door here, and we have a door here. So there'd probably be 2 rooms over here connecting. You'd have to leave out one, go all the way around. So it'd take you 1, 2, 3 moves to get back up in here. Poltergeist could just summon a book to walk through this wall and drop it off in here. And then next person could come through and summon and activate it. So that's pretty fun. They get you some more maneuverability. We have 4 copies of him with a funny face. Summon him or move and activate. Again, you can move into one of them rooms, activate to create the resource, or vice versa, or activate then move. We have 4 copies of his scary face, where he can move, or he gets double attack. Double attack, we haven't seen on any card so far, but that can be very powerful to take out multiple heroes at once. Again, he can move right through a room, so if they summon and they're waiting for a chest, he can move into that room without having to walk around stuff. Then we have 2 copies of him holding a staff, which says draw a tactics card and activate. So cool, get some extra things to be able to do. Alright, running down on the monsters here. We up next have our skeletons. And we're going to get 6 of these. These guys are so adorable looking. Look at a little sitting down like that. That's pretty cool. So you summon 3 to a magic eye room. They have activate, produce a bone. So they're the only ones so far that just produce a resource. We've had ones that move, some that activate, some that attack. Outside of, they're the only ones that just produce a resource. So this could be very helpful for producing bones, which will help you activate beasts. Which is what it says. Pro tip is in the beginning, focus on acquiring beasts and movement actions. So what do the skeletons do for us? We have 4 copies of this guy trying to put himself back together. So if you attack and it does damage, you get to summon another guy. So basically, it's, hey, I killed a hero, now I'm resurrecting his skeleton to help me out. We have 4 copies of him dabbing for some reason. Move and activate. And then we have 2 copies of him pondering, like he was in the library. So summon or move. So yeah, his whole thing is you don't want to just kind of maybe get around, place these bones to get beasts to come help him, or take out other heroes and turn them into your summons. But you can just, of course, resurrect guys with his ability there, too. Our next monster, I wanted to say hero, but they're not heroes. They're exact opposite heroes. We have 2 witches. Let me get the fun little witch hat there. So the witches have only 2 guys, but they also have 2 health. So they're going to be able to survive a little bit longer than everybody. You summon both of them to the hat room. So again, 1 to each or both to the same one. And you get to create a portal token. Or actually says, place a completed portal token in the same room as one of your dungeon monsters. So you just create portals. And then once you actually have portals created, you can use them to travel between rooms. So, if we look at this, we have... Each scenario starts with an incomplete portal token already in place in a dungeon. In those rooms, you may resolve active actions to complete them, flipping them tokens to the completed side. When 2 rooms have completed portals in them, they are considered to be adjacent only for the purposes of moving, unless otherwise stated. Here's housing our portals. So here you spend 1 to activate that, to flip it over, and now you can walk between them. She can just walk around and place more all over the board, so that way you can travel from any room to any room. So kind of like we were talking with the Poltergeist, to be able to run up from room A to room B, like through the wall. She could essentially do that for anything else and just start connecting those rooms. So she has her pro tip is build portals as fast as you can, will help the whole team acquire loot. So that way you could put it in, like, again, the book room, and then as soon as you get a book, you can move to the portal, go to the thing to activate the scroll, and not have to walk around the dungeon. So what does she have to help us out with that? She has 3 copies of this fireball. It says draw a card and it does a defense, or you get double ranged attacks. That's pretty powerful. 4 copies of her sweeping up, it looks like move and activate. And then 3 copies of another new thing we haven't seen before, a triple option. We have activate, produce a fraud resource, or summon your other character. Now again, you only have 2 at a time, so unless both are out the board, the summon part's not going to happen. But letting her produce extra frog tokens is very helpful as well. Since she can create more potions, and potions will give her extra options for stuff to do. Alright, then our final monster is the dragon. And we get 1 dragon, who is a little bit bigger than everybody else. He's sleeping. Dragon summons to the vault. So he's the only guy that starts in the vault. He has 5 health. So he's going to be the hardest to take out well. But the thing is, once you take him out, you can still keep playing the game, but you just can't go out of your actions until you can resummon him. So he has activate there. Remove all wounds from your dragon, so you can keep healing them up very quickly if you keep spending those. Avoid acquiring equipment. Focus on potions and scrolls with the attack options. Yeah, so very interesting. Alright, so he has 2 copies of him sweeping on some gold, so he summons back into the vault. Or you get 2 move options. He has 5 copies of him eating some ham. So move and attack or activate. And he has 3 copies of his fire breath, which is double move or double ranged or move. So very cool. So these guys so they're all very different. They're all gonna have different things. So different combinations and different player numbers are gonna make a difference. Playing solo with 1 group is gonna give you very limited options on what you do. Play a 2-player game as opposed to a 4-player game, giving you 2 more characters, is going to give you a lot of other different options on what you do. I think that was all of them in the imp. So before we look at the other cards, I just want to put all the miniatures up next to each other. So now we did mention in the other video there was different sizes, but the meeples aren't necessarily any different sizes from each other. The dragon's obviously bigger, the witch is a little bit bigger, but if you're just looking at these four, because it had one, oh, we missed the imp back there. Yeah, if you looked at the chart that had things like you had a way to carry guys of smaller size, it's not easy to, it's obviously to tell the dragon's bigger than the other ones, but it's hard to say, like, oh, is the mouse bigger or smaller than the skeleton, or is the gnoll bigger or smaller than the imp? And I did mention they had, in the boss battles expansion, they changed that, so instead of being person A is bigger than B versus bigger than C versus D, they made them 3 sizes. So like the dragon's in the huge size who can carry anybody with him. Then the witch and like I think the gnoll and some of the other guys are in like size B, so they can carry any of the smaller guys, and everyone else is in the smaller one. So that might be a better rule to use. Alright, let's look at our item cards here. Here we get our loot. So, alright, in here we are going to have some various potions of different things. Again, they don't name any of these things, which I'm here and there. I like the fact it's just icons on cards, makes it a little bit simpler. I do play a lot of games where people don't read off the names and stuff, but it also makes it harder if you're trying to explain a card to someone like, oh, what card do you have? Well, I have the one with this. Instead of saying, oh, it's the heart potion. You know, you might know what that is, but we got this. This is called Reinforce. This ability says, well, the top 3 cards of your tactic deck. Okay, well, the top 3 cards of your tactic, put one in your hand match the action depicted, discard the rest. For example, get all cards with melee attack. So if you get this potion, you get to go to the top 3 cards, you get any ones that'll have a summoning icon on them, and then all the rest are discards. So it's a great way if you have a character that needs to summon a lot, you can summon them quicker. They also have, it looks like this reinforce action is on all of these guys. So here we have one for a star potion, which will let you find a defense card. One poison, which lets you find an attack card. We have a green one, lets you find a move card, it's like a haste potion. We have a beer, which is going to let you activate. We have a red one, which will let you do a trap. And then we have some eyeballs, which will let you do range. So potions will be very good for characters that need to find cards with those certain icons on them. But also to keep in mind, if they're finding them, it just means they get to use that. They could find it and they get one of those. So like again, if I have the dragon here, I could either look for the one, buy a potion that has a summon, or I could go at the boots and I could get either one of those cards. So those can be very helpful in that way. Then we have some scrolls, which will all have create a magic portal on them. So I have like a fire one, but this also gives you 3 ranged attacks. So this could be very helpful again for anybody, right? 3 ranged attacks is definitely great. You can take out a lot more heroes that way from a distance. But it only works on one monster in a room. So you select it so if it has multiple ranges in there, I can't pick 3 different rooms. We have the skull, which lets you summon 2 guys to the crossbones and gain an attack action. We have this leaf, which will let you have a defensive action, which is very helpful, or to attack. The coins, which lets you summon one of your resources. The mushroom, which will let you generate summon to the hat room and place a trap. The lightning bolt, which will give you super movement, 3 movement. Or the culvert should give you 3 activates. So again, these are very powerful. And then depending on which monster, which one gets them, they are going to work a little bit better or less better, depending on who it is. Alright, then we have, for equipment, we have 3 swords with throwing daggers. So this will let you either defend, which is always helpful, or you can swarm attacks. If you have a big group of guys, so the gnolls are really like this, right? Where you can also summon like 3 at a time, or the rat king, you can get a lot of guys out. Someone like the dragon isn't gonna care about this. He only has 1. He's never gonna have more than 1 attack because you can't swarm. The shield gets you defense plus swarm for movement. The shovel, which gets you an attack or swarm activate. The boots will let you activate or swarm movement. The battle axe, which lets you double attack or swarm attack. Again, the gnolls will really love this. Either one of them can attack twice, or all of them can attack once. We have a bomb, which gives you a ranged attack, or lets you place a trap for every guy. Imagine dropping these guys with something like the rats or the slime. The slime can have up to 10. If you have 10 in a room, unless you just drop 10 like right in front of the treasure room or in the treasure room. So every time a hero walks in there, boom, trap, 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 trap. Like, right? That could be nuts. And then we have the bow and arrow, which gets you a move, or everyone gets to attack. Then we have some beasts. It's kind of little allies to help you out. So we have the owl bear, which lets you draw a card and then defend, or draw a card and attack. The mimic lets you draw a card, then place a trap and a coin. The little yellow spider here lets you draw a card and then place 2 extra activations. These guys let you draw cards, so they're very helpful for letting you get extra abilities out. We have the star-nosed mole, draw a card and move twice. The beholder, draw a card and double ranged. The mumatar, so a minotaur that's a cow, or a bull rather. Draw a card, attack, and move. And then the treant, which lets you draw a card and place a frog. Now, as you notice, these cards aren't always symmetrical, and I do like that as an idea. So we have all the beasts. We have one that produces an icon, and then we have one that produces a trap and a coin. None of them produce books. And the same thing, we have swarms, but 2 of them have defense. Some don't. So I like that it's not just like card A does this, card B does it with this icon, card C does it with this icon. It's not always the same. And it also opens up then when they have expansions and they add more cards, they can add some of them in there as well, so you can get those. But then you can also kind of pick and choose what you want to play with. Alright, we're going to look at the heroes then. And we get 4 copies of each hero, which will pop in. So we have the archers. This is going to show where they pop up. So they're going to each summon to a different room, so as a not equal sign. So like for our monsters, we can kind of choose where we summon them. These guys have to summon from one to the other. And then they're going to attack. Ranged attack, I'm going to find the exact text for this. Each one has their own special abilities. So, Ranger attacks from 1 damage to a monster in an adjacent room, targeting the monsters closest to the vault. So it's always going to attack towards the direction it's going to try and eliminate them before it gets there. It's not going to shoot backwards and attack anything behind it. Not to say it won't. It's always charge whoever's closest. So if there's like one in a room behind it, and there's no one in front of it, it will attack the other direction, I would assume. We have the warrior who goes to the hatch room, and then he discards up to 2 resources from the room he is summoned. So yeah, if there's only 2 resources, he'll discard both of them. So he's kind of a pain. We have the 4 copies of the rogue, who will go to the hatch room as well. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm saying that, and I'm actually wrong. So we have the archer here. So 1 sword, 1's eye, 1's crossbone, 1's hat. So there's 1 for each different room for each of the four heroes. But their abilities are always the same. So these guys, when they summon, they will remove a trap from the room they're summoning. Only when they're summoning, not when they walk into. And then finally, we have the mages, which, if the mage is summoned in the cell, reactivate all imprisoned heroes himself to breaking them out. So yeah, these guys are kind of a pain for that reason. But other than that, if they don't go to the cell, if they don't get put into the cell, then they're completely fine. The cell is a special room. So they're never going to normally draw. They're going to go to one of the other rooms. They're never going to get put into that room. Only when you do your, you draw a card for the, pressing your luck. Alright, so that's what we have for all of our monsters, all of our item cards, and all of our heroes. So the last two things I have to go over is, one, we have all the scenario cards. And I'm just going to kind of fly through these quick. I'm not going to read every ability on them. Just so you can kind of see what they are. You can pause it if you like. I'm not going to again go through every story, but there are spoilers alert. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to go over... Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go over the 4 promo cards that came in the set. That way, if you want to skip the scenarios, you can. So there were 4 promo cards that came in here, which are available. And I think I got this during a Kickstarter campaign, so they are available there. I can't guarantee they're going to be in every box. They might have been in, like, 2nd edition boxes. They might have just been included in the Kickstarter run. So you may not have these 4. They're not listed as the deck contents, but there are 4 extra loot cards that are also maybe available as promos from their website or future campaigns, so keep an eye out. We have some firecrackers as a scroll. They're all based on little themes. This is like the Chinese New Year. So we have, again, create a portal. We have range and double move. We have a beast. We have the tiger, because it's the year of the tiger. So draw a card and attack, or draw a card and move. We have a special potion here. I don't remember what it was called exactly. But it lets us look at the top 3 cards and then draw a swarm card. And then we have the double hook blades, or cross hooks. I think it's called hook blades. So, moving attack or swarm attack. So, these are 4 extra promo cards you can add in. And then when you get any of these cards or expansions, they just get shuffled right into the deck. There's no limit to the number you have. You can always opt to instead take out 4 cards and keep the deck smaller if you want to try and draw certain cards more often. But that's kind of up to you. Alright, so then we're going to look at the scenario cards. So if you do not want to see these, and you'd rather find out what they do or look at them as you're like, hey, I'm going to do number 1, you're just going to grab number 1s, shuffle them into the deck, and then go. You want to play scenario 2, you're just going to grab 2s, shuffle them into the deck, and you're going to look at them as they come up. Awesome. That's what you want to do. I 100% aren't going to argue with you. So I'm going to do the spoilers for these. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit me up in the comments if you like these videos so I can keep doing more of them. Check out as I do the videos for the expansions. I will have links to the descriptions for all of those, in the descriptions for all those as well, in case it doesn't auto send you there. Alright, we are going to look at these cards then. And I'm not going to read the names of the scenarios and all that. We're just going to look at each one. So we have 2 of these witches, which are going to give us, you're just showing that they have either remove a frog or discard a card. And that's the thing you note with something like this. So you're adding this as your guild deck. It's going to be the scenario cards plus your heroes. So the first scenario you played, you're going to have your hero cards, which you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hero cards plus 2. So your main deck is only going to be 18 cards. So you're going to draw a lot of heroes and just begin with mainly heroes. And this will pop up occasionally. Is kind of how that's going to be. So again, I just want to do a quick look at the scenario there. Yeah, so it says... shuffle the witch marked with the number 1 along with the hero cards to create the guild deck. So you're just going to go ahead and shuffle them all in there. And as far as I did understand, you just always shuffle all of them. So yeah, this one you're not going to have a lot of other scenario cards popping up. It's mainly going to be heroes. And that's supposed to be the first one you play. So it's kind of more giving you just, hey, here's a little extra thing that'll pop up. But it's not going to, like, wreck you for that. Up next in Scenario 2, we have 4 copies of the Executioner. So he's going to have you do the jail cell event, and then you draw a guild card. And they have a little bit more information in each scenario on how those exactly work. Yeah, it says like this. This is every time you draw an executioner card, immediately discard it, draw another card from the guild deck, and send the relevant hero to the cells. Then draw and resolve one more guild card. So you're going to send one of the heroes to the cell, but, you know, which then could possibly trigger a, could trigger one of the other guys, or could trigger the wizard, which could activate some other stuff, so it might not always be beneficial. For scenario 3, we are going to have 2 of the trolls, so there's some options there. I'm not going to read through all of these, just because you can kind of figure some of them out, discard tactic to draw a card, so you have some options. We have, for scenario 4, we have 2 cards. We have the Bullfrog King. So this has a special thing that has a little 1 up there. So this has, frogs are rebelling against your continuous mistreatment. Consider all frog tokens as having 1 health. Frogs can now be attacked by you or removed from the dungeon by making potions or be targeted by the warrior. Frogs do not attack heroes and they ignore treasure. After each player's turn, move all remaining frogs 1 room towards the vault. Then each one of them deals 1 point of damage to 1 monster in the same room as them. So yeah, they're going to kind of become little threats. So a frog will summon a frog and it will attack you. And then it has that arrow icon, which means, I was trying to see if it specifically said where that was. So I think that just means that it has to, this does this, then you do that, and you summon more of them. I was seeing if it specified that particular symbol in here, and it does not. Yeah, it says each time you reveal a Bullfrog King, each frog in the dungeon deals 1 damage to 1 monster in the same room as them. Then all frogs are resolved, spawn 2 new frogs in the sewer. So interesting. So in set 5, you know, all the cards are always going to be the same. So you don't have to worry about like one card being different than the other. We have the Librarian, who again has a little special book icon. So some of these you're going to have to refer to the scenario book. So once you're playing a scenario, you're going to want to have that scenario out, so you can keep referencing the special rules. So scenario 6, we have some werewolves. Discard some bones. Scenario 7, we're going to have the heist. So we have some rogues stealing some treasures. In 8, we get, I haven't been telling you how many copies we have, which I keep meaning to do. So we had 2 copies of the Bullfrog, 2 of the Librarian, 2 of the Werewolf, 2 of these guys. So you can see they're adding these elements in here, but they're not so overwhelming. They're kind of having you focus on the heroes and not the scenarios as much. The scenario, these extra things are going to pop up and cause some extra things, but they're not taking away from the whole hero aspect. They're just there to add some extra trouble. We have special setup. This is the 2 copies of here for 8. We have the Mermaid. For here we have Get 'em Boys. We have 2 copies of this, which have some imps, so you can't use the imps in this scenario. They'll have a little health icon, so you'll summon them as extra minions that'll go along. We have 2 copies of number 10. We have the Parade, and you can't use the Rat Kings. This guy summons Rat Kings as an allies, as his minions. We looked at number 12 or number 11 before, so you have the Dragons. We have 2 copies of the Dragon. For 12, we have 2 copies of Charge, which is going to show the warrior on fire. And this has a 2 health, so you just summon some heroes that get the warriors at extra health. Kind of cool there. So for 13, we have 2 copies of the Hatch, which uses the wizard folk. So it's a neat way to also use the meeples and utilize them. So you have them as playable characters, but they can also be enemies in some of the modes as well. So it does actually kind of makes us get some other options there. We have 2 copies for number 14 of Scavenger Hunt, which is going to use the Rogue. We have 2 copies of number 15, which is the Necromancer, which he summons skeletons. So this also comes with 4 copies of skeleton cards. This is actually one of the first times you actually get more than 2 cards. And then these guys will also have their own special abilities. It does show they have their own health in there. In 16, we have 2 copies of the guitar solo, but this also combines with number 10. I think I already have in the pile here, Parade. So you also add in the 2 Parade cards as well, which is our mage playing that. And you can't use the Rat King or the Poltergeist. They're going to add some of each of those. So she'll summon Poltergeist, he'll summon rats. So that's kind of fun, right? You get some other different combinations in there. Add some more cards as harder scenarios. For number 17, we have the Witch's Coven. So you can't use the Witch for this one. We have 4 copies of that. But then we're also going to add in 2 more copies of the Librarian. Which will also here we have a thing we're going to summon the Bullfrog's army. So we're going to have some frogs attacking us. We're going to have the witches that can get in there. Warriors get extra stuff. So this is going to become a very more intense one as well. And the witches' names, by the way, are Cynthia and Olga. I don't know which one's which off the top of my head, but we do have them. They do have names. Kind of cool. For Scenario 18, we have 4 copies of the Puppies card, which is going to summon some puppies in there, which are going to use the gnolls as the puppies, because there aren't any puppies in here. And then you have the dragon as well. So you get 2 cards from set 11 for the dragon. Then in our 19, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of the Slimy Bureaucrat, which will use our slimes as enemies. It's kind of like a little mimic suitcase. I hope there's a tie in there. And then set 20 are the Epic Heroes. So there are a bunch of these. So there are 4 for each different character, but we are summoning more Epic Heroes in here. Epic Hero summoning when sent to a hero. So yeah, we're going to have this, and each one has a different special abilities. So let's look at them. So we have our 4 Epic Archers, which have, when summoned or charge, so when summoned to the card, performs a ranged attack towards the vault, or if it moves, it's going to show its, it moves, it does a ranged attack towards the vault. So it's just, yeah, when it's summoned it does it, but it also does it whenever it moves as well. So it makes it a little bit trickier. And then we have our Epic Warrior. Gains a bunch of armor. He actually gets 2 health, so he gains an extra health point. It says when summoning 1 resource instead of 2 from those, and when they charge into a room, perform 1 extra melee attack and a monster against it. So he gets an extra one every time he moves into a room. We have our 4 rogues, who have, when summoned, remove a trap, or when they charge, remove a trap. And then we have our 4 wizards. They're epic, which give us our summon and inspire all heroes in the cells. But when they charge into a room, they also flip back portals. They shut down portals. And you can also play a harder mode of this game where you just play any one of the scenarios, but swap these guys instead of the other ones. So it just makes them a little bit more challenging because they also have charge abilities instead of just summoning abilities. So it's really fun. And it's kind of neat because we have a bunch of stuff where you can't use some of the monsters, but I don't think we have ones that cover a scenario that covers every single monster being used. No, actually, yeah, there's at least one scenario that uses each of the different monsters as a group. So that's really fun. So there's a lot of different stuff. And again, after you play through every scenario, you can, of course, buy the expansions, add a lot more extra scenarios, more cards, more monsters, stuff like that, and check out those videos. Or you could always opt to, mix and match some of these things around and play some different things with different things, like adding two different combinations together, and then every time you draw one of them cards, you're going to add some crazy combinations, some different crazy stuff like that. But that's always up to you. Alright, that is what we have for Keep the Heroes Out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit long, but we want to go through it. But yeah, definitely come back, check out the expansions, so you can see what other cool stuff is out for this game. See you guys later. Bye.